Hello? Huh. I could hear you now. There we go. Yeah, so, where are you calling from today?
Texas.
Fullerton.
From Czechia.
In Seattle,
Arkansas,
Vancouver, BC,
Louisiana.
And wherever you're tuning in, welcome. Now, since birth, we go through experiences that are unique to us. The life lessons and values we hold dear to ourselves show that we are different from one another, yet also reveal how similar we are. Milking Ardor is that space to share experiences and hear new stories from people from all around the world. On this episode, we'll be hearing from Chris, an amazing comedian who's making it big. Casey, who expresses that her biggest challenges right now is change. Then finally Cody, one of the first guests I ever had on my show. And without further ado, I'm gonna cue sponsorship. Then we'll hear from Chris. As I mentioned, Chris is an amazing comedian. Here, listen to this clip that was taken from one of his shows.
I'm high enough where I don't care if you don't want me to talk about this, but I, as a grown person, have pooped my pants too many times. I shit myself recently. I should clarify, first off, life comes at you fast.
If you want to hear the rest of that story, you're just going to have to check Chris out. So Chris and I actually had an hour conversation. It was really great, but as you know, I do aim for a 10 to 15 minute time frame during my show per guest. So I had to cut out a lot of it, but here's the end of that clip. So, without further ado, take it away past Spencer and Chris. Just kind of moving on from this, what current projects are you most excited about to work on? I know it's like a really weird time and it's kind of hindering a lot of things, but is there anything that you're really excited to start or that you're starting?
I mean, ever since coronavirus came in and showed us that she's a bad bitch, comedy is damn near, at least in the performance aspect, is damn near non-existent. And the comedy industry as a whole has been trying to figure out how we're going to adapt to this situation. People have been doing shows via Zoom. People have been doing open mics via Zoom.
Have you been to any of those, or have you done any of those? Because I feel like that'd be really hard to do.
It's incredibly weird because, you're so used to telling jokes and having an immediate response to it.
That instant feedback of either laughter or silence, and then
Exactly.
I imagine on Zoom it's just they're all muted and you're kind of staring at everyone.
Exactly. So it's very much like when doing shows on Zoom, you really can't tell if you're doing good or bad. Because that's another thing too, where in comedy, a set can be 10 minutes if you're doing well. And then at a different show, when you do those exact same jokes, when it was 10 minutes and you're bombing, that turns into 5 minutes. You go through jokes so quickly if no one's laughing. So that was another thing that was hard with the Zoom shows where, sets that would normally be 15 to 20 for me were 8 to 10 because I wasn't pausing for laughs. I wasn't riffing because a crowd, there was an interaction because it was just silence. And some people have been trying to adapt to where they would have producers of the show be unmiked so someone was laughing, or let the audience be unmiked so they can laugh. People are starting to figure out ways they can get around it too, so then that way it feels less weird. But it's still ultimately at the end of the day, nothing's going to compare to being on stage and making people laugh.
So then how do you stay relevant? For those comedians out there or just any people in the entertainment industry, how do you stay relevant during a time of not being able to perform to what you're used to? Is that looking like you're posting more on different social media platforms where it's just old content?
So there's a couple ways. There's one, obviously, just even though they're weird, even though they're awkward, doing Zoom shows and rehearsing that skill. Another way is figure out what other ways you can come to do your comedy, whether it's just, being very active on social media, whether it's getting into writing. or just self-producing sketches and things like that.
Mm.
Like for me personally, for the beginning of quarantine, it was like for most of the quarantine, I wanted to like, because I've written like for a small comedy site before. I wrote one article for this satire website called Flex Mag, and I'll actually be having another article for them being published soon. I don't know when, but pretty soon.
Yeah,
Um,
kudos to you.
Thank you. I've written like just unpublished by people. Like I just published it on medium.com, which is a self-publishing site, but like blogs about various things. And like that was something when quarantine started. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get back into this. And I didn't for the longest time just because, quarantine, depression, things
Yeah.
like that. But then lately I've been getting into it and I've been doing like writings. Like I wrote another article for Flex Mag and been working on submitting packets for TV shows and trying to teach myself how to write scripts. So then that way I can start, writing spec scripts and writing pilots to, so then that way when I eventually, because I'm looking to move to LA at some point,
Yeah.
I can have that stuff on deck because you never know when you'll be out and about and you meet someone and it's just like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, shoot me a script you written. Like you want to be able to have something on hand.
Yeah.
So that's another skill too that, a project I've been working on, just like learning how to write scripts. And I'm going to teach myself how to write scripts through a spec script first. So then that way I don't have to worry about creating characters. I can just kind of have the training wheels on. And another thing, I've been trying to be more active on social media, tweeting more.
Just staying active online, yeah.
And I've been, TikTok was really something that took me by surprise, where I started posting clips on it, and it like really took off. Like even this week, I had a video on TikTok go, at least for me, the most viral I've ever gone. Where at this current moment, when I'm looking at my TikTok, at this very moment, the video has 312,000 views on it.
Wow.
And about over 92,000 likes. And like I've been growing a following over. For me personally, it's a lot. A lot of comedian friends I have more followers, but for me personally, it's a lot. Like I have over 12,000, and like that was something during quarantine I've just been doing, of just like going through a bunch of video sets that I have and just editing clips and posting it to TikTok, and I've just been growing this following from it.
Yeah.
So really, like during this time, I've just learned, one, the importance of you should never put all of your eggs into a singular basket, because you never know if that basket's going to burn up. Because then if it does, what are you going to do?
What are you going to rely on?
What do you exactly? And like I put all of my eggs in the stand-up performance basket, and because of that, like not only just in terms of my time and energy and building skills, but like even that's where I was getting my self-worth from. That's where I was getting my validation from. That's where like I was generating self-love from. And then once it got taken away, that's what made quarantine so hard, because
you didn't know what to do with yourself.
Exactly. Like it was funny because for the longest time I always made fun of people who their whole personality revolved around them doing study abroad in college. Like there's always those people who their personality is I go to Disneyland, or their personality is I travel all of the time and stuff like that. And it's just like you always joke and be like, oh, you don't have a personality, you just rely on going to exotic places to seem like a cool person. Well, sure enough, tables have turned. I don't have stand up anymore. And then now I'm like, who am I as a person?
Yeah.
Like even when on like dating apps and like talking to people that match, like if a girl asks me like, oh, so tell me about yourself, I'm just like, well, the most defining thing about me no longer exists. So I guess I watch TV now. I don't know.
Yeah. Is this what a identity crisis is like?
It is. It's not fun. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not fun at all. But now, these past couple of weeks, I mean, I've been having a lot of important self growth. And shout outs to therapy. I'm lucky enough to be able to have therapy and been having a lot of growth through that as well. Uh, but I've finally been able to, start having the motivation and drive to do other creative things like writing. And I want to shoot like a talk show idea that I had. Like I just shoot it here in my crib, just um, like I just shoot it with myself. I write it and just upload it online, whether it blows up or not, just to be able to say like I did this.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too, where it's just like an importance of like when talking about don't put all your eggs in a basket and try to expand. Like at the end of the day, like if you have an idea of something, go do it. Like just do it. Like
Oh, yeah.
whether it's going to be good or not, like the same guy who gave me that advice from earlier, he gave me another good advice about right now, where it's just like if you come to LA, there's a million people in LA who tell you they have an idea for something, and those people are the most frustrating people in the world.
They are, yeah.
Because everyone has an idea,
Mm-hmm.
but not everyone does things about it. And there's nothing more frustrating about a good idea than a good idea from someone who's going to do nothing about it. Because they're just taking ownership on an IP that they're gonna do nothing with. It's like if you came up with an excellent patent and then you go to register it and you realize someone else already did it and they're doing nothing with it. And it's just like, well, I want to do something with it. You're not gonna do something with that? Like, why did you register for it?
Yeah.
So it's very much like what I'm learning right now is just like there's things that I want to do. And like I've been saying that I want to do for the longest time, and they sound cool. And when I tell people that, they're like, "That sounds exciting. That sounds great." But no one's gonna give a shit if it stays an idea. And like if I do it, obviously I want it to be well. Like I want whatever I create to be something that I don't look back and be like, "Ooh, that sucked." I don't want people to see that. But like at least I'll be able to be like, "Yo, you know what? I said I was gonna do this, and I actually did it." And whether it's great or not, the experience of doing like creating it and learning how to create it is going to give me the skills and training I need to then be good enough for whatever it is I'm actually supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So like right now, that's why I'm trying to get into script writing. That's why I want to shoot this kind of talk show project that I have in mind. That's why I'm writing for sites like Flex Mag, and I'm going to be submitting to other sites as well. Because it's like since I no longer have stand-up, I can either continue to just be sad and sit in a corner, or I can still be sad, but I'm trying to build upon other skills that I can then get drive and motivation and validation from, and be more multifaceted with my skill set, rather than just being siloed into a singular. And there's nothing wrong with being siloed. If there's only one thing you want to do, by all means, work to be the best at it. Like if there's only one thing you want to do, like master it, perfect it, for sure. Me personally, through this experience, what I learned was the danger of that. If you focus only on one thing, if that one thing gets taken away from you, it's going to ruin your life. So that's why it's important to be multifaceted. And also at the end of the day too, in the industry, right now with comedy, like you could be an extremely funny comedian, and then every agency and network is gonna be like, okay, what else do you do? Do you write? Do you act? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you have a following? Like nowadays, just being funny is not enough. Like you need other stuff. And like, especially because of how creative it is, as funny as you are, there's gonna be someone who's just as funny as you, and also has a following on social media, and writes, or they act, or so on and so on. So like that's another reason why too, of just doing multiple projects, it helps. It helps build your resume and make your resume
helps
more
build
attractive.
character. Yeah,
Exactly. So really, that's like I've just been writing, man. I've just been writing. I used to co-host a podcast with a fellow comic here in Seattle called Stoop Kings, and right now just not doing it because based off of how our podcast is, it works so much better when we're physically in person and able to feed off of each other. And we have like a soundboard that we use, which I know sounds like hack radio, but it works. And like, since we can't, physically meet anymore, like it's kind of killed the motivation to do the podcast. But like,
Yeah.
if we were able to do it and it feel the same, that would be another thing. But like, unfortunately, that's died off. But
You physically cannot replicate what you had before.
exactly,
Anymore.
it really is. It's like the difference between being at a place and watching a musician play versus watching them play over a stream. Like, you're still getting, for the most part, the same product, but it just doesn't hit the same.
Do you have any closing thoughts and anything you want to plug or shout out?
Yeah, and sorry that we went over time.
Yeah, no, I love talking to you. I love hearing your story and just all this insight that you have.
Yeah, I'm definitely. This is what happens when you do comedy and when you go on stage and it's just you. No one can stop you from talking. But
Yeah, no worries.
yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, I could give some final thoughts, and then plugging stuff would also be dope as well. Should I just go ahead, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess for final thoughts, really, I guess I will just like to leave people with, what I've personally learned from quarantine, which is one, like, prioritize your self-care. Make sure you're good, because if you're not good, whatever product you're pumping out is not going to be to the best of its ability. And also at the same time, don't be so fixated on like, well, since I'm in quarantine, I got to write the next book. I got to do this. I got to do that. Like, make sure you're okay first.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to write that novel if you let your mental health suffer so much that you're not healthy. So value self-care. 2, if there's something you want to do, if there's a dream you have, doesn't matter how unrealistic, unstable, just say fuck it and go after it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, if you chase after a dream, whether it's something in entertainment or like you've always wanted to be like an interior designer or some shit like that, like, and if it doesn't work out, you get to live the rest of your life knowing you gave it a shot and it didn't work out, then live the rest of your life always wondering what would have happened. And regret always hurts more than failure. Always hurts more. So it's always 1,000% better to fail at something and know that you tried than to always wonder what would happen if you did. And then I guess the last final thought is, if you've always wanted to start comedy, don't do it. There's already enough of us doing comedy. Don't be selfish. No, if you're real quick, if you're interested in comedy and you've always wanted to do comedy, just start doing it. Write jokes. Write every day.
Just jump into it.
Don't be hack. Don't be offensive for the sake of being offensive. Don't. Just be funny. Be funny. Do what you feel feels right to you. Try to be unique. Try to be funny. Try to be creative. Don't talk about your dick. There's already enough people doing that. But yeah, just hit the stage, but also maybe don't do comedy because it's a long, hard road, and there's already enough of us doing it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, is there anything you want to shout out, Chris?
Yeah, so follow me on social at Topher Mejia, TOPHER MEJIA. That's my handle on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I have a Facebook page, Chris Mejia Comedy, just facebook.com/Chris Mejia Comedy. Also, just search Chris Mejia Comedy on YouTube. I got some videos of my jokes and some fun sets that I've had on there. And also my website, chrismejia.com. When COVID goes away, I'll be posting on my website and on my socials as well. Shows I'll be doing. But like, if you follow me on social, that's where I'll post like upcoming projects I have, anything that I've written, things like that. And then Stoop Kings podcast is what I co-host. It's available on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean. Check it out. It's super fun. But yeah, that's me. Thank you so much for having me.
No, yeah, thank you for being on the show, Chris.
Yeah, this was fun. This is great.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Chris.
No, thanks for having me. Stay safe, stay healthy out there.
Thank you. All right, I'll see you later.
See ya.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great.
Yeah, nice to finally meet. Is it Casey or Cassie?
It's Casey.
Casey. Yeah, nice to finally meet you, Casey.
It's nice to meet you too.
I've never really met you before, so
Yeah.
nor have the audience. So, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Casey, and I'm from New York.
New York. Nice.
Yeah.
And I don't know your relationship status, but if you were on a first date, how would you introduce yourself? What would you say about yourself?
Oh, jeez. Hi, I'm Casey. I'm 18. I like to go to the beach, and I like pump music. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, what about that type of music?
Oh, the type of music?
Yeah, like what about it? Why do you like it so much?
Oh, because it gives a lot of the songs give such a great positive energy. It's just really, it puts me in a good mood every time I listen to it.
Yeah, I like that. So would you say that you're typically a really positive person, try to brighten the day of other people around you?
Oh yeah, I love to think that at least.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really cool, Casey.
Yeah, thank you.
So, you have this TikTok, which is kind of how I found you. It's this little, art TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of the inspiration behind that?
Well, it all started because I was really bored during the quarantine.
Yeah.
And so art has always been a passion of mine, and I've always wanted to, get my art out there, and I thought TikTok was a really good place to start on getting, noticed, and it actually worked surprisingly. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how did you get into art? Tell me about that.
Oh, jeez. Well, I don't even know. It was just always a passion of mine, especially when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I would always, drawing was always my favorite class in school. And, I always draw in my free time. And, yeah, it's, sort of my escape from the reality. So I really yeah.
Is there, a certain type of thing you like to draw, or is there, a unique style you say you would have?
I wouldn't say I have a unique style. And I draw different things depending on my mood. If I'm let's just say I'm heartbroken, I might draw something really sad. But if I'm having if I'm in a really good mood, I'd probably draw something that has a positive vibe to it.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you've had your heart broken. Do you want to go into that, or what happened?
Well, I wouldn't say I got heartbroken. More like a huge disappointment in the end.
Yeah, what happened?
So I was seeing this guy, and he was really cool, and he showed a lot of interest in me, and I thought I showed that I had a lot of interest in him also, but it ended up not really working out, and we just stopped talking one day, and I haven't talked to him since. So yeah, that was really hard for me, but I slowly tried to move on from it. Yeah.
I mean, how did you guys meet? Did you meet online, or is this
we met at
friend of yours?
School. We had a mutual friend, and then through that friend, I started hanging out with him more.
Yeah.
And then there was just one night when we were talking, and we decided to hang out a lot more. And and then quarantine happened.
So, and I'm sure that didn't help either.
Yeah, oh, it definitely did not. I was really upset, but yeah.
Yeah. So just kind of going back to the art thing, it looks like you started this art project where you paint your favorite song covers, and you also do the Spotify code for that, and put it on your wall. How'd that happen? I
saw a whole bunch of TikTok people doing. Do you know the glass panels that people draw.
Yeah,
Like
those are pretty cool.
size. Yeah, I thought that was cool. So I wanted to put my own little twist on it. And so, yeah, what I'm doing is that I'm doing a whole bunch of those songs and then putting them in a giant picture frame I have, and
Okay.
I'm just gonna hang up on my wall so I can see
Wow.
it and admire. Yeah.
I mean, have you thought about like gifting those to your friends or?
I have not, but that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
would love to get one of those if one of my
Yeah.
friends made it. So I'd only imagine if your friends
Yeah.
would like it too.
Yeah. Well, actually, the thing about TikTok is like I don't actively tell my friends that I have one. Like, there's only like 3 really close friends that I have that know about my TikTok, and there are just other friends that I just haven't told them.
Yeah, why is
So they
that?
don't know. I don't. For me, it's more like I'm worried from judgment from them about like from the art I do. But yeah, like I
Are
know
your
they
other
love
friends? Are your other friends artists as well, or do they like to paint and draw?
I do have a friend that does art, but I don't know if she's like necessarily involved as much as I am.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm more of the artistic one of the friend group.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So what's the most recent life lesson you've learned or something that you've learned? 'Cause I feel like we're all kind of evolving and we always have something on our mind.
Yeah.
What's that most recent life lesson that you've learned?
Well, the most recent one is that it's never never too late to change something that you are not comfortable with or don't want. Yeah.
Could you explain more about that? Like,
Yeah.
what made you really realize that?
So, I just finished my first year of college, and as much as I loved the campus and the people I met on the campus, it just didn't. I just felt like I really didn't fit in and belong with those people. And so, like, for a little bit, I've been, like, really wondering what can I do to not be in that environment anymore. So, yeah, for me, it was just more like, I had a huge discussion with my mom.
Yeah.
Because this was bothering me so much. It was really tough for me because, like, at first I loved it. I told everyone how much I loved the school. But then, like, as, like, the months went on, I started feeling like I couldn't really be there anymore. So, yeah, my mom actually gave me advice that's not too late to change things. Because I always thought that if something's done, it's done, and there's nothing you could do to change what happens. So, yeah, right now she really showed me that it's never too late to change anything. You just need to work hard to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the next steps? Are you still going to try to just tough it out, which it seems like you're not going to do, or you're going to try to transfer out of that school?
Well, right now, I'm going to see what happens this coming semester, and then I'll see. Yeah, I'm a go with the flow type of person.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, and if I still don't feel like happy on the campus, then I'll change. I'll transfer.
Oh, so what exactly made you really think to yourself, like, man, I really don't want to be here? Was it kind of I want to say atmosphere, but I should probably be more specific. Like, was it the people, or was it like too fast paced or too slow?
Yeah.
The classes you're taking?
It was kind of like a mix of both. Because for me, I thought I would love, my campus is really small. I think there's about like maybe 3,000 people that go to the school. So I thought I would love to be on a small campus, but going there, you kind of don't really meet new people after a few months. And that, I don't know why, but because I love meeting new people. And so that was a little tough for me. And then another portion was the classes I was taking, because I'm a communications major with a concentration in film. And for me, the film classes weren't what I expected, which I was really disappointed in. So that's another reason. Yeah.
I mean, so you have a communications major and some other stuff. I mean, what are your aspirations? What are you trying to do later on in life?
Oh gosh, I don't even know, to be honest.
No, I don't really know either.
One of my goals is to, yeah. So one of my goals is to work in the film industry, like maybe producing a film or just helping out with it. So that's a goal in life. yeah, that's why I have my heart set on. But it could change, and I won't really
Yeah.
stop it. Because
And then that kind of just goes back to that conversation you're having with your mom, how, things could change, but you just have to work harder for that change.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah, so I was just saying, like, it goes back to that conversation you're having with your mom, where it's not too late to change. You just have to work harder for that change.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much it for me. It's I just kind of have short and sweet talks with people and see what they're doing
Wow.
in life.
Oh, that's really cool. Actually, I really like that.
Yeah, thank you. I
Yeah.
mean, do you have any last thoughts or anything you want to plug or shout
Ooh,
out?
follow my Instagram at foreveryoung0_8. Follow that. That'll be cool.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Casey, for being on my show and all.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yeah, I mean, I love meeting new people as well, so
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll keep you
Yeah.
updated on what to expect and
good.
when this will come out.
Oh, thank you. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, bye, Casey.
Okay. Bye.
We are 45 days into milking Ardor. And when I first started, I had no idea where I was going to go with this. And even now, I have no idea where this is going to go. But this whole process, just doing this, has been really great. I've had an amazing time just sharing people's stories. So Cody is one of the first guests I ever had on the show. And I'm really proud of myself and how far I've come within these past 45 days. The first thing you'll notice with Cody is that my microphone is not up to par. I'm so glad I fixed that. The second thing you noticed is I was like super jumpy, like I really wanted to get into the conversation and be like, oh, haha, I knew that. But it's more of just I want to hear from these people. So I'm really glad I learned from this, but thank you so much, Cody, for being on the show. And I'll stop talking and we could get right into the past and see what I was like about like 40 days ago. Hello?
Hello?
There we go. I could hear you.
What's up? Can you see me too?
I can't see you. So I don't really use the camera. So if you want to
Okay.
talk from camera or
I'll just turn it
if you want
off.
to keep it on. Okay.
There we go.
Great. Well,
just
thank you
sit.
so much for
However.
reaching out to me and wanting to be a part of the show.
Yeah, man, it sounded exciting. I saw it and I figured why not? I like talking to people and you were asking for people with stories and I feel like I have a lot of good stories.
Man, that's so great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of stories. Oh, where are you calling from today, Cody?
I'm in Southern California, a little town called Hemet.
So I saw on your Instagram, on your bio, you have this one phrase, look in your heart and you'll find home. Explain that to me.
Well, it's just a lyric from a song, a reggae song that I feel like is, really nice because, you don't really need a whole lot to feel like you belong and that, if you like what you're doing and you have yourself, then, that's where you should be.
Yeah, so you're into reggae music, yeah?
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
been playing guitar for 3 years now.
And drums, I saw, right?
Yeah, I just started playing drums like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
I found a kit online for cheap, and me and my dad have been thinking about starting drums for a while. And I saw it, and I just kind of jumped on it. And that was right before all this went down.
Really?
So it was like my last chance to get it before this whole pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's totally great that you got it there and then, because I feel like if you were to get it now, it'd be a lot harder to kind of get that.
Oh yeah, and it was a good kit and a good deal. So it was one of those like perfect timing, once in a lifetime sort of things.
So do you and your dad just kind of jam out together since you play the guitar and he plays drums, or?
Not so much because that's like his first instrument.
Really?
So, I mean, not to hate on him or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but like, his rhythm's a little messed up. But I mean, I can't blame him. It's his, first instrument. I've been playing for a while. So
Yeah, so why the drums in
what?
particular? Why the
Why
drums
the?
in particular? Yeah.
Well, why the drums? That's a
Mhm.
weird question. I feel like um, before I started playing music, I never really knew I was musically inclined. I was always a math kid, and always really hated drawing and coloring and stuff like that. So I never really thought I wanted to be creative in any way. And then my friend played guitar, and I picked it up one day and I started playing, and I was like, this is really fun. And my older sister had an old guitar that I had that she passed on to me that I'd never played, and so I started playing that. And then a year later, I started playing bass, and so I've been playing those for a while now. And uh, I guess in a way, in my mind, it was just kind of like almost like a next step sort of thing.
Mm.
Um, and I don't really play with people a lot. It's a lot of just me by myself on GarageBand playing and doing whatever.
Yeah, just having
Kind
fun
of,
with it.
yeah, I just kind of go back and forth. Like I'll play guitar and bass for an hour, and then I'll go downstairs and play drums for an hour, and then I'll come back up here and just keep playing. And it's a like kind of just wanted to be fluent in all aspects of a song, you know.
Yeah, I
Like I started,
understand that.
yeah, I started learning like keyboard stuff and stuff like that, just
Really.
to be well rounded.
Do you have people in your family or like just kind of in your life that really just inspires you to play music?
Yeah, two of my cousins. One of them, his middle name's Cody, and that's where I got my name from.
Really? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and he was in a band. He was in like a screamo band and stuff like that way back when I was like a kid.
Mhm.
Um, so I mean, I'm not into like screamo music, but like I would I heard him performing, and I was like, damn, that's really cool that he gets to be up there. And one of my other cousins plays guitar, and when I was a kid, I was always mesmerized. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guitar's amazing. I play a little bit of ukulele, but 6 chords, I feel like that's a lot of work, a lot of chord progressions, and just kind of
Yeah,
finger movements.
yeah, it is. Switching between chords was my biggest problem for the longest time.
Mm, I
That's a
totally
big that was
understand that.
a huge step for me to overcome. But you know, I've 3 years later, I feel like I'm pretty decent, and I'm happy with where I'm at and how I'm progressing. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
amazing, Cody.
it's a
That
lot
you
of
have this
fun.
passion. Do you have other passions in life? Do you want to take this professionally or?
Well, the thing about that is obviously when you think about like getting into the music industry or going to music school, it's really competitive and really small. So
Mm,
it's not like the most practical thing, but whenever I think about going to school, because I'm not in school, so whenever I think about going to school now, before it was always math, but now it's for music. So yeah, I guess if I um, ever really did choose to take it like that, it would just start with school, just to get sort of a lot more of the fundamentals down to be well rounded, and then going into it as like they're like session basis and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I feel like something like that would be a lot of fun.
So what's your day-to-day life looking like now if you're always kind of just playing music every day?
Right now, well, I still have a job, thankfully.
Mm,
I still am able to be working full time and getting that full time paycheck, which is uh, awesome because not a lot of people can still say that, which is pretty crazy. So I go to work. I work 8 to 5. I come home and I play guitar and drums for an hour each, and then I hang out with my sister and I play video games and go to sleep, and that's basically it.
I saw that you skateboard. Do you still keep up with that?
No, no, that kind of that wasn't necessary. I wouldn't call it a phase because I started when I was like 5, but
Mm.
it just wasn't something that I was the most passionate about. Like I always had video games and baseball and skateboarding. And so video games and baseball for me were the two big ones, and skateboarding was more something that I did with my friends. It wasn't something that I got a lot of gratitude out of because I wasn't great at it. So it was more like a social thing.
Yeah.
But I liked it a lot though. It was a lot of fun.
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're Giants fans, right? Because I'm kind of wondering if you're from kind of SoCal, how are you a fan of the Giants? Aren't you typically like a fan of
Uh,
the Angels or Dodgers?
well, my dad um, was born in San Francisco, and football and baseball were big in his family, and not basketball. So he's got brainwashed pretty early to be a Giants and a 49ers fan. And then when he moved down to LA with his mom, and he became a Lakers fan. That's kind of how that worked out. But yeah, my dad's from up there, so once I was born, he kind of brainwashed me really quick. Started going to baseball games and all that.
Yeah, the Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you go to San Francisco often? Do you have family here or?
My dad and I used to go once a year up for a baseball game, and we would hang out and like go to Fisherman's Wharf and go to Alcatraz and stuff like that, and um, just have like a weekend in San Francisco with a baseball game in there.
Yeah.
So we used to do that all the time. It kind of stopped happening. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe because I got a job or something.
Mm.
And now that I have a job, summer doesn't really mean anything. It just kind of gets hot. Um, so we don't really have the time to go out like that anymore. But yeah, we used to go out to San Francisco all the time.
Do you miss that?
Do I miss it? Yeah, I do. I really like San Francisco. I love the weather. I'm really a cold weather person, so up there it only gets like 68, and it's really awesome for the weather. And I like the city. I like all the places to eat. I love the personality that it has, and I love the Giants, and I love going to their stadium and their games.
Yeah, would you ever kind of move to San Francisco, or do you ever see San Francisco being a part of your life even after you kind of stopped going with your dad?
Well, it's kind of expensive up there, so maybe not
Yeah.
necessarily San Francisco, but maybe like the Bay Area, even somewhere like northern Oakland or
Yeah.
something like that, or around there, San Jose. Actually, maybe not San Jose, because I'm not really like I'm more of a city person, not a rural person. And San Jose is
Hmm.
pretty rural, so I guess it would be somewhere around the Bay would be nice, or maybe even farther up north, like Oregon or Seattle, where it's still nice and cold and pretty hip up there.
Yeah. What's next for you, Cody?
What's next?
Yeah.
Man, that's kind of a tough question. Um, well, the job that I'm at right now, there is a lot of opportunity to move up, so there's that. But on the same side, the idea of like just working and like trying to do little things to make yourself happy kind of sucks. Like I'd rather be doing something that I like and being happy with what I'm doing and all that. So as of right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of writing out my job and seeing where I can go, and I got to get my car paid off. And I like everyone at work, so it's not the worst thing in the world.
Hmm.
So I'm just kind of seeing where the chips fall and where things take me right now.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, it is a really weird time. Like, no doubt, it's kind of just terrible. But it looks like
Mhm.
you're just kind of living life and just enjoying the moment.
Yeah, it's weird not to be able to, because before all this, I had a Disney pass, and it's weird not to be able to just go, or my sister loves to go to the beach, and she would always invite me along. So it's weird not for that to be happening, or not going out or anything like that. It's super weird.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for the listeners, or just life in general, or advice in general?
Any advice man? Um, well, I guess I'll say that just because you're wrong doesn't mean that you're stupid or anything. So be okay with being wrong. And
Interesting. I have a question. How did you learn this lesson? Because I feel like that's kind of hard for a lot of people, but at the same time, it comes very easy to people. How do you kind of learn this?
well, just kind of like an overtime thing. I've kind of had a rough time like finding a way to forgive myself whenever I do maybe even something stupid or something wrong. Um, it's always been hard for me to kind of forgive myself with something like that.
Hmm.
So just through experience and through time, I've learned to, just because you did something dumb doesn't mean you are dumb, and just learn from it and move on, and it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really scared of making this podcast, and at times I'm like, okay, this isn't going too well. I feel like I made a mistake, but I used to beat myself all the time. So it's kind of crazy to see how I've changed so much in a year, and rather than beating myself up now, is for me kind of just, wow, look at that. You kind of made a mistake, but how could you learn from this?
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you're getting a kick out whatever you're doing and you're learning, that's the right direction. That's
Absolutely.
what you want to be doing.
Well, thank you so much, Cody, for being on the show. I loved hearing from you.
Yeah, of course. It was a lot of fun.
All right, well, that's it for us. I'll let you know about any updates.
All right, thanks. Bye, guys.
Special thanks to Luke Rembo and Matthew May for the amazing tracks that I used on today's episode. Of course, thank you, Chris, Cassie, and Cody. So with Cody, as you could tell, I did not ask, is there anything you want to shout out? But I asked Cody, is there anything you want to shout out? And he said if he could shout out his sister's boyfriend's podcast, which is called the Nev Bros Podcast. And that's NEV for Nev. Wow. We're done with that. We're done with episode 7. I'd really like this time to really say thanks to Water. Whenever I record tracks like these, I always rely on water to keep me not parched. Anyways, I was going somewhere with this. Oh yeah, if you want to be on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram at _SPENCE_R_. Basically, if you just search up Spencer Chan on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, you could find the Milking Ardor sorts of stuff. So just search up Milking Ardor or Spencer Chan. And Chan is CHAN, if you don't know. That's pretty much it for me. Remember, if you want to hop on the podcast, shoot me a DM, and I will see you later.